All right. Hi, everyone. It's Liz.
And it's Allison,
Woohoo. And we're back with Ghosts and Giggles.
the podcast.
The podcast. Wow,
I like
wow.
clarifying what we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe some people listening don't understand that this is a podcast. So,
Exactly. They could think
yeah.
that we're jumping off bridges. We're not. It's just a
Yeah, I
podcast.
mean, just a podcast.
It's just a
But
podcast,
anyway, we're
boys.
here today with a Giggles episode, as you can clearly tell. And this is our first time where we changed the time zone recording. So you see behind me, it's nighttime. And
Daytime! Wait,
woo!
do you know that YouTube
So-
video?
Which one?
The bird that goes nighttime, daytime!
No, I don't. I've never seen that.
Oh, it was viral like when we were in high school, I think. I just
Oh,
watched it
okay.
the other day.
Got you. Yeah. Nah, I'm not 100% sure, but that's okay. Do you want to start by talking about the things that maybe happened in our classrooms this week? If anything interesting happened?
Yeah, go
All
for
right.
it.
Cool, because I have some funny things. Like, these kids make me laugh a lot, and I just never think to write it down because I don't really have time to. And at other schools, I would get scolded for having my phone out, even if the kids were like doing their own thing. Like, I couldn't ever look at my phone for even just a second. So, this is like the one school where I feel like I have a minute to do this kind of stuff or like record videos of the kids, and it makes me really excited. So, I was saying to you earlier today when we were trying to record this that I was gonna call all of my students Larry, and I'm wondering if that's almost gonna be too much now, but because it's like, oh, I love Larry. Oh, but Larry's annoying. Like, it's gonna be insane. But anyway, I think I'm just gonna have to go with it because I'm gonna want to call them by their names so badly. So I'm just gonna go with Larry because none of my kids have ever been named Larry. So one of my 7-year-old kids, Larry, his English is actually really good. He's worked really hard on improving his grammar, which, in American age, these kids are like 6, maybe 7, but like their English improves a lot. And he's really good at just coming up with like random phrases to say in like the middle. Like no one else really knows it, and I don't know where he picks them up because I don't say it. I'm like, "Are you watching TV at home?" So this past week we were doing worksheets. These kids love doing word searches and mazes and all that kind of stuff, and so I'll make them a packet of it if we don't have any book work to do to help them practice with some English and sight reading and blah blah blah. And so they're doing their worksheet packet and wait a minute. It wasn't a worksheet packet. Oh no, now I feel like an idiot.
Because that's the important part of the story, it seems.
That's the important part. No, we were doing their books, I guess, and I was making them write really fast because it's almost the end of the year in Korea. So the end of the school year is at the end of February. And then there's like a 1 day break for their Independence Day, and then school starts again for like public school. Public school has like a month or two break, and like the kind of schools that I work at, which are like the kindergarten, Hagwons, whatever, those are like almost the entire year. So end of February, we have to finish all the books to get them to go home. So I'm busting them through this. I'm like, let's go, guys. And so the kids are all writing, and this one kid, Larry, is not finished. And I notice it. And I'm like, Larry, like, is it okay? Like, are you good? Like I can wait for you. He's like, teacher, just go. Like in the cutest voice, just like, teacher, just go. I'm like, okay. So like I start cracking up and all the kids start laughing with me as I'm like going to the next page on the computer. He's so cute. I love that kid. He had another story as well. We were watching a science video where it was showing the strength of eggs. So like you put like two things of masking tape and an egg on top and then you stack it with weights and it got to 25 kilograms. And then they put like one more weight on top and then the egg finally cracks, right? And all the kids are like freaking out. And so Larry, same kid, goes, "Teacher, egg has died.
Correct, Larry.
Egg
Egg
has
is
died."
died.
Yeah, it's so funny. God bless. I love that kid so much. So then the only other story I have is one of my little 5-year-old kids, Larry. Um, he's he's pretty cute. His English improved a lot since the beginning of the year, and one of his other classmates, Larry, you know, it's so stupid. Why did I
I love,
decide to
why did
do
you give
this?
them all the same name? Why not come up with a bunch of different names?
Because God forbid they're all gonna I just name them all after One Direction members like Harry and like Zayn, you know? At least that way it would differentiate. Anyway, little 5-year-old Larry, they're all like coloring color by number picture. And so he gets to the color purple and it's the number 7. And you would think he would be like, it's oh, like purple time or something. He goes, "Ooh, 7." Just like
Also,
really
7 is
interested.
not associated with purple in any way, just so you know.
I wouldn't really expect it to either. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. I don't know,
Seven's pink?
maybe.
No! I
Sorry.
literally will come after you. I quit the whole podcast. I can't handle
I
it.
know. Seven's not purple. We start a war on Twitter. Oh my God. Anyway, oh my God. So those are my cute kid things. I really
I
had to
know, I love
like
it. That's so
say it
cute.
because I always forget. I forget everything that they do. And then I'm just like, oh, they say the funniest things. And then I want to tell a story, but I never remember them. So I'm like, I better start writing these down before it's too late. But anyway, did you have anything fun happen in your classroom?
Yeah. So the other day, one of my students comes up to me. Like, well, no, I shouldn't say he
Mm-hmm.
comes up to me. He announces to the class. He goes, "Miss Allison, why
Mm.
don't we celebrate the 100th day of school?" And I'm
Oh,
like, "Because I'm traumatized by the 100th day of school." And they're like, "Okay, you have
from
to tell us
elementary
now."
school?
Yep.
Okay.
So back in elementary school, we had a 100 day of school thing. So this is a story I told my students right after.
Okay, got you.
And so my mom and I used to go to Florida, and I always would take seashells. So I must have been in second grade. And so we gathered like a bunch of seashells because we had to do like a 100-day project where you had 100 of something. So we glued
Okay.
them onto this like cardboard
Wait,
thing.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was like a big thing.
I don't even remember
And
what I did. Oh no, that's crazy. So you chose seashells. Okay.
yeah, so I like glue it onto this thing. There's 100 seashells. Well, I bring it to school. I think I bring it on the bus or something. Something weird. 3 of them fell off. And my teacher was so mad at me. She started screaming. She's like, "There's only 97. There's not 100. Blah 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 blah. Like you can't even count.
Wait,
Da 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 da." Yeah.
Miss Allison, question.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what grade it was?
Second grade.
Wait, did we have the same second grade teacher? Because if it's who I think it is, she was kind of like a cranky pants.
This second grade teacher was really mean, but then she left halfway through my school year.
Ooh. We may have had the same teacher. We gotta
I'm texting
clarify on.
you
Okay. I'm like, we gotta
because I don't want
clarify.
to like out this person because they passed away.
No, I know. No, but my brother had her and he actually really liked her.
But sadly she had
Yes.
cancer and she was just really
Yes, I do
not in a
believe
good
so.
place. So she was like really mad at me
Yeah.
that I didn't have 100 of the seashells. I got kicked out for the project. Everyone went around looking at everyone's. I had to sit on the
Oh.
side because I only had 97 seashells. Um, so I was telling my students this, not the cancer part, but like all the other stuff. And
Hmm.
I was like, yeah, I'm traumatized by the 100th day of school. We'll never, ever celebrate it in any class I have. Like, I don't care if I start
Oh.
teaching first grade, I'll never celebrate it. Like, I get so anxious. And one of my students goes, yeah, but like just because you're anxious doesn't mean we shouldn't celebrate. I'm like, well, that's true. Like, you're right. And this kid turns to my assistant in the back and goes, I don't want to celebrate it. I don't want to get depressed like Miss Allison.
Yo! Oh
Oh my
my
God.
God, did he just call you out?
So my assistant and him start laughing, and they're laughing so hard they have tears in their eyes. So like he has to leave because he's laughing so hard. So I'm like my assistant, I'm like, what did he say? Like, I gotta know. And so she announces it to the class. We are all cracking up, and they're like, it's true. You get traumatized so easily.
Oh my God. They know you like
Yes.
almost on the same level that I know you. That's
Oh no, they
crazy.
do. The thing is, I
Love
am
that.
so happy at school and excited and jumpy and energetic, like 20 times
Hmm.
more than I ever am. So it's so funny that he said that because I'm like you don't see me at night, like where I'm
I know
just like,
exactly what you mean. I try to be like more energetic too. Because you're around kids. They give the energy, you soak it in, you give it back to them.
yep,
Yeah.
I love
But
teaching. It's so fun.
oh man. Anyway, so our topic of the day is going to be our firsts. And so we were thinking up a list of different firsts to talk about. And we're going to start off with like, there's a list of about five that are probably more significant. And then we're going to do a rapid fire afterwards of just like ones that can either be like a one word thing or like really easy to just doesn't need a full story. So without further ado, should we start?
Yeah. So my first experience seeing a monkey. That was what we were starting
Mm,
with, right? No, I'm just kidding.
of course, yeah.
It's like oddly specific firsts. It's like it's really weird.
So my first memory of a natural disaster was
It was Katrina. It was Hurricane Katrina. I'm so sorry. Wait, this got so serious, but like vividly
well, I
remember.
was gonna say my first memory of 9/11, so it's kind of better that I didn't say that one.
I don't
And I
remember.
also don't remember it, to be honest. I think
You
we're
were in
just at the
school.
cutoff point. I probably was, but I don't remember it because I was so young. And as I always say, I have the memory of a goldfish. So therefore, I don't remember anything, even from like I could almost forget what I ate for lunch today. And the only reason I do remember is because it's like a pizza place that I've become obsessed with. But usually I forget everything.
But this is also the same girl that could probably quote Adventurous Adventures of One Direction.
I can, and I'm not going to right now because it's too much time.
No, but
Anyway,
like I remember Hurricane Katrina because I thought it was going to happen to us and I couldn't understand that it was in a different part of the United States, so I just cried for like a full week thinking I was going to die.
oh my God.
And so I would sit in the back of the
That's
classroom and they were
dark.
talking about it and cry. And then eventually my teacher found out that I was crying and she's like, "Why are you crying?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm just getting ready for this natural disaster." And she's like, "It's not happening near us." And I was like, "What?"
Yo. First, Allison, please tell me about the first crush you ever had. And this is
Oh.
non-celebrity. This is just in real life person you knew.
All
Crush.
right. I was in
What's you?
kindergarten
Mm-hmm.
and this kid's name was
Okay.
um
No, not
yeah.
that. No.
And we
Oh,
were in
he's
kindergarten.
awful.
We were in
He's an
kindergarten.
I get it, but he grew up to be an awful guy.
I actually never heard of him after middle school. And I
Yeah,
think we
I
went to
don't
the
think
same
I
high
did
school.
either.
Um,
Yeah, probably.
Well, I had the biggest crush on him. Like our parents would joke around
Yikes.
that we were gonna get married one day because like we he would hang out with me like we were friends.
Yeah.
Um,
Because in kindergarten, everyone is friends.
right. And like I don't know, I was like in love with it. I would talk about him all the time in kindergarten. I would be like, "Mom, like can he come over?" Like, "Mom, blah 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 blah." And like always talked about him. And then at the end of kindergarten, I stopped liking him because,
Hmm.
we move on, we mature. It's first grade now, you know?
Hmm.
Then he had a crush on me from first until the middle of fifth grade. Then I had a crush on him in the middle of fifth grade till the end of fifth grade. And he was so mean to everyone except me. He
He
would,
was. He
no,
was. It was insane. But he he wasn't even the worst one, thank God. But like, and for that long, okay, but first of all, like he was rude, like in that age gap, like as well. So that's
he
what blows my mind. Like, oh
he
my
was never
God.
rude to me. We had to have like a sit down discussion with him out of the room with the teacher once. And everyone ran around and said something that he did. And it just came to me and I was like, I don't know. He bakes me cookies and brings them in. Like,
Yo!
and I sat next to him because like our last names were like alphabetically next to each other.
Right, right,
And like
right.
he would like get me stuff all the time. And
Oh
like it
my
was known, like if someone came
God.
over, he would like, and I had no idea he liked me, but like it was just so funny
That's
because he bullied
wild.
everyone except me, who got bullied by
Right.
everyone else.
Yeah. That's insane. Oh my
It was
Lord.
crazy, but that was my first crush. Thought we were gonna get married. I have no idea where he is now. I've tried looking him up on like social media just to try to like see like what he's up to and what he looks like now, but I can't find him
Yeah.
anywhere.
I haven't thought about that name in probably like over a decade.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's a
Anyway,
good.
holy moly.
Yeah, that was my first crush. Was the school bully.
Wow.
Who
Incredible. Love that for you.
was your first crush?
Yeah. I'll say my first name too, because technically I don't always count the first one because also kindergarten. And
Yeah.
I could technically count him as my first crush and my first boyfriend, but it's kindergarten. So, and it didn't continue past kindergarten. So, but it's also relevant to my actual real first crush too, because they had the same name. So, my first crush in kindergarten, his name was Ben. We were best friends, and we basically were married in kindergarten, but not like we said we were married. It was more just like we were dating, but the things we would do were like acting like a married couple. Like it was crazy. We had the
Argue.
same, no. What you wish would be a married couple, right? So him and me and one of our other friends were like, we were like the trio of like elementary school. And then I guess that our trio was like so well known or infamous amongst the teachers that they had to split us up in fourth grade because we were in the same class in every grade from kindergarten to third grade. And then once we got fourth grade, they're like, we have to split them up. Like, maybe blah, blah, blah. Like, so and so is getting distracted by so and like da 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 da. And I remember it like broke my heart just because like we were all such good friends. And then from that moment forward, our friendship was still kind of there, but it broke it up. And I still kind of miss our friendships to this day. So it's very sad. But we would ride all the same bus together. And before our third friend would get on the bus, like oddly enough, my brain remembers this, which is wild. Like it feels like a fever dream. But we would be riding the bus in kindergarten and he would kiss up my arm. Like, I'm not even kidding, just like I was
That's
like getting some. So sorry. I
Liz, you
was
were in
getting the
kindergarten.
kisses. I know. I was getting the kisses. It was wild.
That's
But
crazy.
yeah, and I used to draw pictures of us together with like a heart around, and then my family would tease me like, are you and Ben gonna get married? And then I'd be like, shut up, like, leave me alone. And then, of course, I got over it, right? But we were really good friends. We'd hang out outside of school as well. We didn't live that far away. And then as I got older, I didn't really care about boys until fourth grade. And like I said, fourth grade is when I was split up from these two friends. And there was another Ben in my class who was actually attractive back then, not anymore. If this Ben is watching and is knowing that I'm talking about him specifically, that's right. I'm calling you out. You're not attractive anymore. I apologize. But I
What?
need to call you
That was
out.
so mean and for what?
I need to call you out because you're kind of a jerk also.
Oh, okay.
He's also kind of a bully at some point. But back in this time, he was kind of a decent person. And so anyway, he's probably never gonna watch this anyway. But yeah, so I had a crush on this guy named Ben, and the crazy part was our birthdays were a day apart. So mine was September 26th, and I'll leave the rest up to interpretation. But also the Ben, I mean, there's only one of two answers. It's
I
fine.
know. Like
But I
interpretation. It's the
know it's like
25th or
whatever.
27th.
But then the other Ben from kindergarten, his birthday was the 28th. So it was like it was
Oh
weird. Like it
my.
was almost all connected. And my current boyfriend
That's
right
weird.
now, his birthday is September 23rd. So it's like somehow I've had multiple crushes on guys whose birthdays were days apart from like my own birthday. Really weird. Anyway, so I had a crush on this boy, and it got enough to be a point where I was talking to people about it. Like my first crush, I was like really out there about talking about having a crush that I was in a recess line with a girl from my class, and we were talking about all this or something. And then somehow he's standing behind me and he like or no, he's standing behind me and I decide to confront him about it. So I'm like, "Hey Ben, I like you." And he's like, "Yeah, I know." And I'm like, "What? How do you know?" I was like, "Oh my gosh,"
Oh.
like freaking out. And he's like, "Oh, I overheard someone talking about it in the bathroom." But like from outside of the girls' bathroom or something. Like, I don't know. Weird. But I specifically remember I said the words I'm so sorry. I
Why'd you
said the
apologize
words
to him?
like no, I didn't. Oh my god. No, I specifically remember something along the lines of me saying like, "I love you," or something. Because I remember when he said, "I know," I was like, "How do you know I love you?"
Oh,
Like,
0 to
okay,
100.
like 8-year-old, 9-year-old Liz, like whatever. So, later after recess, we're doing like silent or not silent reading time. Our teacher was reading, I think, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe to us.
Oh
And
my
I think
gosh,
I
love
remember
that.
it being that story because of this. And so she was doing it, and I had set up the folder in front of me so you can't see what I'm doing, right? Because everyone used to do that, set up like the folder tents. And so I'd set one up in front of me so I could make a paper folded fan for him. And it's just like the literal, like this thing, right? And so I make it and I write to Ben, love Elizabeth. Because I used to go by Elizabeth. Like I wasn't Liz for a long time actually. But and I was gonna give it to him, but then the teacher caught me before I
Oh
could give
no.
it to him, and she took it from me. And it says love Elizabeth. So like here she is, like basically intruding upon my first ever crush. But after that, um, yeah, I don't think I ever really talked to the guy that much ever again. So that's fine. But yeah, I think it was like after fifth grade, I got over it pretty quick. Like once I was in middle school, I was like, ooh, there's a whole new like cities full of boys to like like multiple different towns worth of boys to like now look at and
That's true,
get
yeah.
interested in. So that was pretty nice. But yeah, that was my first crush story.
Wow.
Same name. And
That's
luckily I moved
crazy.
on from the name Ben, which I appreciate. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyway,
It was me. I
yeah,
did
it
that.
was you. It was you. You did that. So my first boyfriend, let's call him, I was gonna say Ben.
I'm gonna no.
Let's
I have to
not
look
call
up
him
boy
Ben.
names because I
I
cannot think of any.
know. Let's go with Alex. Alex
Ooh,
is fine.
Alex. Wait, can you text me real
So
name if I know the person?
Allison, how can you not remember my first? Oh, we didn't know each other when I had my first boyfriend.
Your very little
That's
boyfriend, I don't
why.
remember, but
Yeah. So my first boyfriend,
oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I was in eighth grade, and what was it? I so from sixth grade up until eighth grade, I had been crushing on like a plethora of boys, if you will, right? A plethora being mostly a good handful, but they were like long-lasting crushes that were like on and off for a while. So when I finally got to eighth grade and I had a crush on a guy who was in my friend group, or what would be known to be my friend group, like at the time we were just kind of like I was just getting acquainted with this group of people. Um, but like it was a huge difference for me because usually I had a crush on guys who are unattainable for me in a different social class than I was, if you will. And so, like, I had met Alex. He was a friend of a friend. And the friend that introduced me to this friend group was one of the only girls. It was mostly guys. And they were all like quite funny and like cool to be around. They were just like chill, whatever. And we got not that even far into the year, it was like October, and I used to tell this one girlfriend about the crush that I had on this guy, and she'd be like, "You should totally ask him out." And I'm like, "No way, are you crazy? Like, I'm not about to ruin everything." Because the previous year in 7th grade, I'd asked the boy out, and he almost said yes, but then he said no. And that's a story for another time, for sure, because it's a really good story. But, my confidence level was really low. And I was like, there's no way anyone is going to say yes to me now because of that. And so for a week straight, we were just going like, ask him out. No, ask him out. No, like, yes, no, yes, no. And at our lunch table where Alex sat, along with all of our other friends, um, he he and the other guys would just stare at us as we would go, yes, no, with zero context. And so one day at lunch, we're doing that. And then I look at her and I'm like, you know what? Fine. You can do it for me, but I'm not going to be around you when you do it. And she was like, okay, got it. Like, thanks. I'm so excited now. So I get up with my tray of lunch. I go to throw it in the trash can. And by the time that I walk back to my lunch table, his head is down on the table like this. And she's laughing her butt off. And I'm like,
Oh,
you did not just do what I thought you did. My face probably went beet red. Luckily, the bell rang, so I didn't have to confront any of this situation, and I just booked it out of there. But I think it was also a Friday because I don't think I saw him for the rest of the day, and then I think the weekend happened. Then come Monday, because he didn't give her a straight answer. He didn't say like yes or no. I think he was like, I'll think about it, if anything. So come Monday, I wake up at my usual like 5:30 or something in the morning to get ready for middle school. And I go down to the computer and I'm like going onto Facebook and I see that I have a new Facebook Messenger message and it's from him. And he said something along the lines of like, "Hey, so I thought about it and yeah, like I'll be your boyfriend."
oh my
So
gosh.
6 in
How
the
the
morning
turntables.
6 in the morning, I learned that I have a boyfriend now. And then I remember my mom walking by me to go use the bathroom. And I'm like, wow, so romantic. This is exactly what I thought getting a boyfriend would be like, right? So we had dated for about 4 months, and it was quite an awkward first relationship, as they all should be.
4 months in middle
Um,
school is the equivalent to like 6 years.
not really. I had friends who dated for like a year or two, and that
In
felt
middle
like an
school?
eternity between middle school to high school.
Wait, no, that's different though.
Yeah.
No, if it's
But it
just in
was
middle school.
no, I know, but it was wild for sure. And like our friend group, like we all dated each other, except this was the only person in my friend group that I dated. I didn't date anyone else. I didn't want to. I love my friends, but not on that sort of level. Like I didn't want to deal with the drama because there was drama around it. And so he and I dated for 4 months, and he was also my first kiss, which I'll get into really fast if that's okay. Um It was at a point where I was considering breaking up with him actually because I didn't really like him anymore. Like I didn't feel it. I'm like, this is awkward. He's very clingy. We're not making like a lot of progress, and I have to make a lot of the first moves, and this is exhausting for like little 13-year-old me, right? And so we had just finished our school musical, which was The King and I, and
Oh, I
he had
remember
one of
that.
the more main roles rather than me, who was just like the ensemble. But we finished the musical, and our entire cast was going out to celebrate at a local restaurant called Margaritas. And
Woo!
we love margaritas.
We
And
stand
so
margaritas.
we stand margaritas. And so all the middle schoolers got a table separate from our chaperones because of course we had to have chaperones who were at like a table that was like a little further away from us, but within eyes view. And I was sitting with my friends, and I remember the night was not going that well. I spilled Coke all over my clothes, and when it happened, he had jumped up and didn't even try to help me. He jumped to
Rude.
get out of the way. Very rude. Like it matters. And then my friend went with me to the bathroom to help me clean up. And I remember just like being upset the whole night, being like, nothing good is happening. This is just so awful. One of my other friends started dating someone that night. It was a weird, weird night. So by the end of the night, I'm just like, I can't believe that no move has been made. We had kissed each other on a cheek, but that was it. And he had overdone it to the point where I was kind of like, bruh, come on now. Are you serious? Like, so it got to a point where I was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. I don't care. So I waited until he looked at me. Then I moved in for my little first kiss, and it lasted for literally
Yeah.
that was it. And I was like, wow. And then it happened more frequently again because, like I said, he was a very clingy boyfriend. And it changed my outlook on the relationship for probably a maximum of 3 weeks. And then March 1st, Justin Bieber's birthday, that's how I
It's a big
remember.
deal. It's a big deal.
Big deal. Big deal for 13-year-old me. Um,
It
I
was a
broke
big
up
deal.
with him. Oh, yeah. And this is also my first breakup, so sorry, I'm kinda going through everything. But March 1st, I broke up with him through a note, and I wrote a note, and I was just like, "Hi, Alex, I'm really sorry, but I think we should break up. I'm just not, interested anymore," or something,
In a
like
note.
in a note, because
Elizabeth.
well, here's the thing. So, what the crap is this?
I don't
That's
know.
weird. Anyway, um so I had been writing notes back and forth with my friends, like, in a class the whole week where I was like, "Let's call her Mary." So, I was writing my notes to my friend Mary, and I'm like, "Mary, I can't do this anymore. Like, I don't wanna force myself to be in a relationship that I'm not happy in." And she was like, "Okay, yeah, I get it." And I'm like, "But I just can't do it in person. Like, I don't wanna see Like, I don't want to see him getting his heart broken because I knew he was still really into me. And I'm just like, I can't do it. It's gonna make me so upset. And I probably wouldn't even follow through if I did it in person. And she was like, these are all valid reasons. And I'm like, do you think I could break up with him in a note? And she was like, yeah, I think you would be okay. Like, she told me at 13 years old that it was
Oh,
actually a really good idea for me to do it that way because we were stupid. We didn't know any better. So I wrote a note and I gave it to her to give to him because they had a class together and I didn't have any classes with him. So she gave it to him, and I think it was like their history class. And then I feel still kind of bad about this to this day because the following day, the friend that asked him out for me, let's call her, um, oh man, I can't even think of a name.
Lori?
Tina, let's call her Tina.
Okay.
So Tina comes up to me the next day, and of course, like me and this guy Alex, we're avoiding each other. And she comes up to me, she's like, "Oh my God, you like broke up with him, blah blah blah." And she's like, "He went home and cried for like a long time." And I'm like, "What? Like, please don't tell me that. I don't want to feel guilty. I already feel guilty that I had to break off a relationship, but I'm doing this for me, for my own personal feelings, my own self, so I can, grow as you would." So she definitely didn't have to tell me that, and we're not even friends anymore, thank God, but, like, I remember that just making me feel like an awful human being, but then all my other friends were actually kind of being like, you did the right thing, Liz, like, you're fine. It's good not to drag on the relationship longer than you should." So it's like, "Thank you." And then everything was okay. We didn't talk for a while, and he ended up dating another girl that had the same first name as me, like, only like, quite quickly after we broke up, and I remember everyone looking at him like, "Are you serious right now? Like, you're really dating a girl named Elizabeth? Oh my God." But, like, to each their own, whatever, and this is going to give it away immediately. But he's still really good friends with my older brother to this day. So I had to break up with him, but then I had to go and see him all the time
Yeah.
because he would be over at my house for sleepovers. Like, I'd wake up in the morning in my pajamas and go downstairs and I'd be like,
That's a
"Good
lot.
morning. Yeah, let's have pancakes." Like, oh my God, just it's a whole other world, But yeah. So that was my first stuff. He was also my first date. I think our first date was going to this freaking kills me every time. I think our first date was a double date with my older brother and his girlfriend at the time. And then my mom and my younger brother came along and sat behind us or in front of us. I can't remember. At Alvin and the Chipmunks 2.
Oh no, that's a solid first date. That's solid. That's a dream first date. I don't know what you're saying.
Like,
We got your
granted, I was
mom. We
13
got
too.
your
Yeah.
most of your family.
I know, like,
We got Alvin
literally
and the
4/5
Chipmunks.
of my family was at this. Oh my God. Fever dreams, dude, fever dreams. Anyway, so that actually rounds up the rest of my stories for the long stories. So, if you would like to get into your first boyfriend and date and breakup, then the floor is all yours.
I was gonna do my first serious boyfriend.
Okay.
So I had a boyfriend before, which is another story. I'll just do that one really quick. We dated for like a month from for the beginning of high school, and then he came out of the closet 5 minutes after we broke up on Facebook. And everyone asked me if I was okay, and I was like, I'm
Oh my
flirting with
God.
you. So
Please
that
send me a
was
name, by the way.
yes. I don't think
Oh my
I
God.
remember his last name off the top of my head.
That's okay. Were you guys in the same grade?
Yeah.
Okay. Hmm.
And then
That doesn't ring a bell right now.
no, he went to a different high school, but
Okay,
we're
got
in the
you.
same middle school.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't know
Um,
anything.
so then I dated someone in high school from my sophomore year until the summer right before my senior year. Liz
Yep.
knows him. I dated for what, like a year and a half
You
around
guys
then?
started dating after you and I became friends. So that's why this is significant, is because
Yeah.
this is the first relationship between both of us where we were present for each other.
Now, if you
So,
remember watching probably the last episode or an episode before, we talked about how I almost said no to a guy because I thought I could be with Niall Horan. This is the guy.
yep.
I'm gonna
Yep.
call
This is the
him.
guy.
Oh, I just had a name for him and now I just lost it. Hold on.
Okay.
I don't know why I had to look up names. Logan. I was gonna call him Logan.
Logan. Okay.
So this is Logan.
Logan Henderson.
No.
Big time rush. No, I'm just
So
kidding.
like our relationship was just kind of cute. Like, like
It
it
was.
was like a innocent high school relationship. People wanted us to
Yeah.
go faster. I was like, no, like we're just having fun. We had some of the same
Mm-hmm.
classes together. He would come over and study with me. We loved each other, so we said. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was normal for the most part and good up until
Mm-hmm.
I went to NYU for the summer before my senior year. So this is, if you were going to listen to a story, this is the story. This is a breakup like I have never heard before. Every time I say this story, somebody's like, I've never heard a breakup story like this. This is the worst one I've heard. So get ready. Buckle in.
Okay.
So I go to NYU from June, July to August.
Mm-hmm.
We're rocky. We're not like doing that well. It's like clear he's cheating on me and like it's like kind of obvious and like it's just
Do
kind of
I
weird.
remember that?
I didn't realize
That
until after we
detail?
broke up, but like he was like, "Yeah,
Oh
I'm
my
hanging out with this
God.
girl." And I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I don't know." And then like he'd tell me after like that he was hanging out with this girl. And then like, yeah, it just got weird. And so like then he
Mm.
was like never happy to see me, he wouldn't call. It was just like a thing. So my parents were like, "Oh, why don't we take him to pick Allison up at NYU?" So they take Logan and they drive to New York
Good
City.
catch.
Thank you. Um, so I see Logan and I'm
Yep.
like, "Yay, like we're
Logan.
going to hang out in the city." So like we're good for a day and then we had to go tour. Like we were coming home, so I say bye to all my friends. I'm crying. And we had
Mm.
promised that we were going to hang out with each other the day after. But then he's like, "No, I made
Mm-hmm.
plans." So I'm crying. Now, we have to have a 10-ish hour car ride home because we had scheduled 2 college visits because that's what we used to do together. We used to go do college visits and do road trips. So my parents are like, so we're driving, we do the first college visit. Now we're fighting because he promised we were going to hang out. Then we didn't. So I won't let it go because that's who I am as a person. I'm never going to
Mm.
change. And then he stops talking to me. So then I'm like, oh, this is great. So then we have to go on a ferry. So we drive our car up onto the ferry. We're sitting, like, there's like a little deck area. We're sitting there. Like, our bench is facing a table with families. And he turns to me and goes, "I don't love you anymore. I think we need to break up." Now, the family in front of us, because, it's like you're on a boat, you're jam packed. They stop eating and just turn and watch. And I'm like, I am 16 years old at this point. I'm like, we're on a boat. Like, we can't get off this boat. And you're
You're
breaking
on the
up with
boat.
me. And I'm like, are you serious? He's like, we'll talk more about it when we get to your house, which is 6 hours from that moment. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
crying because it's very clear he's breaking up with me. He said, "I
Right.
don't love you anymore. I
Mm-hmm.
think we need to break up." So anyway, I'm crying. The family across from us is watching because what else are you going to do? We get back in the car with
Yeah.
my parents and I won't stop crying
Oh boy.
with 6 hours left in the car ride. So my parents are like,
Mhm.
what's going on? And I'm like, I think we're breaking up because we're in the car ride with my parents for 6 hours. And he's like, uh-huh. And my parents are like, I'll get to that. It's so then we go out to eat. So we go to another college, then we go out to eat, and we all have to sit there together, my parents, my now
Mhm.
ex-boyfriend, and me. My parents pay for all of us to eat, so my parents are now paying for this guy to break up with me. Mind you, they paid for his whole trip. They paid for
Mhm.
his hotel, all his food, everything for him to break up with me. We get home finally after 6 hours. He officially breaks up with me. And my parents look at me and they go, listen, I'm going to be there for you in a second, but we just paid for this dude to break up with you. What is going on? And I'm like, I don't know. So we end
Wow.
up like staying friends for a little bit. Like we checked in with each other all the way up until junior, senior year of college once a month. Because we were before the breakup, like we were really close and nothing had gone
Right.
wrong. It was the worst. This is the weirdest breakup to break up in front of your parents on a boat with in a road trip.
With a
So
public setting, like people watching you.
it was a year and a half relationship. It wasn't like
I know.
little. Like I don't know.
It was
But
significant for the time of being in school, for sure.
yeah. And that was my first relationship and first breakup.
I think that kind of covers like our big ones. You want
Yes.
to do rapid fire?
Yeah.
All right, let's hit it. What was your first word?
Dad.
Dad? I think mine was mama or dada. One of the two. I
Nice.
don't remember.
Nice.
What was your first phone?
I had a little pink flip phone. Well, the I
Oh,
had it had like a rubber case on it that was pink. And
got
one
you.
time I texted on it and I didn't know that each text cost money. What was yours?
Ooh. Mine was one of the little brick-shaped Nokia pay-as-you-go phones because I was not
Oh,
allowed to have a cell phone. And so I had to buy my own cell phone and buy my own little AT&T pay cards so I could text or call on it. Because I thought I was at a point where I should have a phone. And my
how
parents
old
were
were
like,
you?
no. Um, maybe 14 or 15?
Oh, okay. I was in fifth grade because my mom was so nervous
No.
about sergeant camp.
15 or 16 maybe because I probably would have had this phone. No, probably 14. Yeah, because by the time I met you, I had my iPod, and then I would just message on like iMessenger or Facebook and like use that with Wi-Fi. So that worked
Yeah.
out. Yeah, but I still have that phone somewhere in my house, and I remember I had a blast like going through ringtones and like backgrounds. It was so cool.
Oh my God, that was the
Um,
best.
that was the best.
He
All
left.
right. What was your first pet?
My first pet was my dog Angel.
Oh.
She was kind of a mean dog, but
Mm,
we got her from like my hairdresser at the time. I must have been 5 or 6.
nice.
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of dog it was?
It was a Maltese, and she was four.
Oh,
I almost said she was 4 o'clock when I got her.
she
I
was
meant
4
4 years
o'clock.
old. She was 4 o'clock.
She was
It was
4
a big
o'clock.
deal.
Yeah.
What about
My,
was I think I know yours, but you'd say it.
well, mine was a fish, but it
No, I
was
didn't know
like,
yours.
yeah, it was a fish, and me and my brothers all got the same exact kind of fish. It was like the little tetras, I think.
Oh yeah,
Like the
yeah.
long skinny ones that are blue and red. And there were 3 of them. And then after a couple days, we woke up one morning and we think my younger brother's fish gave birth to like a buttload of fish. So that was really interesting. But
Oh.
Yeah, I think that was my first pet. We had a lot of fish. Yeah, like a
We
lot
also
of
had a lot of
fish.
fish.
But yeah, once the fish were up, we it was more exciting. But fish, first pet. Who was your first best friend?
One of my best friends, Ashley, who was just a bridesmaid at my wedding.
Yeah, very
How about you?
nice.
What about you?
Me, you would think it would be that Ben from kindergarten, but it's not. It was actually my next door neighbor. Um, yeah, I'll say it. I don't mind. Her name was Nisa, and we lived next door for at least a decade, if not longer. And we would hang out like almost every single day. We would just literally go to each other's back doors, knock on the door, and be like, "Can Nisa hang out? Can Liz hang out?" Blah blah blah. She's the one that gave me the nickname Lizzie, which then turned to Liz, because otherwise I only went by Elizabeth. But she was the one
Gotcha.
that made me realize that, like, yeah, it's kind of cool to have a nickname. But yeah, we were really close. And then unfortunately, she moved away and our friend groups changed once we got to middle school. So, but my entire friend group changed in middle school. Like some of the girls that I used to hang out with in elementary school, like, did a huge 180 on me. So, like, and I was still kind of oblivious. So, like, at that point, it was whatever. And, yeah, but she and I haven't really kept in touch, but I know she just got engaged, so I'm really happy for her.
Oh, that's cute.
And it looks like she's doing really well. So I'm really happy for her, and I will always wish her nothing but the best.
Cute.
So, yeah. All right. Who is your first celebrity crush? And yes, we can say cartoons. I have a lot to say.
Oh gosh, my first celebrity crush was Gibby from iCarly.
I think I
And
remember that.
dude, I loved Gibby, okay? Like unconditionally. I don't know. But then this is like a little bit of a longer story, but I dated someone from California. His name was I gotta think of a name. Thomas. His name was
Mm,
Thomas.
okay.
And lovely, lovely, lovely guy. It was so sweet. So lucky to have dated him. Um, but one day we were like out and I turned to him and like we were talking about like he's like, "Oh, who's your first celebrity crush?" Blah blah blah. And I'm like, "This is Bear's name, but it's Gibby." He goes, "Oh yeah, I used to play video games with him. Yeah, we hung out. He was like my neighbor." I was like, God, don't tell him. I got
Oh
so
my
embarrassed. He's
God.
like, "Why'd you like him?" I was like,
Oh my God.
it's like, I didn't know you were friends with him. He's like, yeah, I'm friends with him. I have his number. I'm like, don't call him. I'm like, I can't handle that.
Oh my gosh. Imagine if you got to talk to your first celebrity crush.
I
That would be
couldn't handle it. I didn't know.
huge.
Like, I just feel like he would be like, my character was designed like not to be like somebody have a
I
celebrity
know.
crush on him.
Likable.
Like he would be
Yeah.
like, what?
Oh my gosh.
What?
Aw, I love
But yeah,
that.
that was one of my favorite stories. Was
Oh,
just like telling someone they were like, I know him, and I was like, okay.
yeah. I definitely had like my first like crushes were definitely on cartoons. Like I liked Ash Ketchum from Pokemon. I liked Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. The cartoon one, not the human one. Not Matthew Lillard. I'm sorry, Matthew Lillard. You seem like a lovely person,
Oh, dude,
but I
I
like the
loved him.
cartoon version.
Dude, him and
Um,
Scream. Love him.
yeah, a lot of people like him from Scream. I want to meet the people who got the first crush on him in Scooby-Doo and not Scream though. Like you must be the coolest people.
I I like those people.
Yeah. No, but my first real like human being celebrity crush was Drake Bell from Drake and Josh.
Ooh, it's a
And
tough
now
one.
he's not a great person,
No.
but back then, I think the reason that I liked him was he was the first character I saw that like dated girls and was like cool,
Yeah.
and like dating and kissing girls was like a cool thing. And I was like, "Oh my God, like boys do that?"
The voice.
Boys do that? But yeah, I had a really big crush on him. And then I think like just by association of music, maybe like Aaron Carter for like a split second. But the other one was Jesse McCartney.
Okay, solid, solid.
Yeah, like Beautiful Soul, Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, like it
Oh
was it
yeah.
was a big deal for us back then. So, definitely him. Yeah. But
Dude, but when you said cartoon, I thought you were gonna go for the solid cartoon character everyone would have a crush on.
who?
The fact that
Robin
it's
Hood?
not. No, what's wrong with you? If I
The
was to say
first
a
thing that came
cartoon
to my
character
mind.
everyone had a crush on, your mind should automatically go there. We fought
We're
so
talking about
hard.
childhood,
This was like
Allison.
childhood.
If you're talking about Flynn Rider, that's not childhood.
No!
Oh,
Danny
Danny Phantom?
Phantom!
Oh my God. Wait, yeah, I did also really like Danny Phantom. That's right. I forgot about that.
Dude, I would
Oh,
watch
and I
Danny
also really
Phantom.
liked
Oh,
Cole
I
and
love
Dylan
them.
Sprouse too. But
Yeah, but they
those
had
were
nothing on
after
Danny
Drake Bell.
Phantom.
And they were after Drake Bell, so it doesn't
I would
really
leave
count
my
as the
husband for
first.
Danny Phantom.
I feel that. I feel that.
Scott's
I
gonna
didn't
watch and
think
be
this
like,
would become a
why?
story. I know. Oh my God. All right, what was your first piercing?
Got my ears pierced and then they got infected and had to close up. I think I was 7, so then I got them re-pierced when I was like 10.
Oh my God, I was so similar. I also got my one ear piercing, both of them on that first hole, and then they got infected. I hated it. I let them close up, and then I didn't pierce my ears until, oh my gosh, what was it? Either like high school or college,
Oh wow.
which is wild. Yeah, no, it took me a long time to like actually re-pierce my ears again. But and then I got 2, 3. And both of those were in college for sure. So it must have been in high school at some point. I just don't remember when or where, but it happened. All right. And those are the only piercings I have. And I don't really think I would consider getting another piercing anywhere. I used to want to get one up here,
I've been thinking about
but
one up here, but I don't think I'm gonna do it.
yeah, technically I'm not even allowed to have 3 piercings for working English teaching jobs here in Korea. Like you're only supposed to have one, if anything. So I always
Wow.
worry that if I ever did get the one up here, that like I could lose a job, which is crazy.
That is crazy.
So yeah. All right. What was your first car?
Oh, it was a, I don't remember the year, but it was a Pacifica.
I
It was
remember
big.
her.
I know, I loved that car, but then one time we
I
brought it
love
in
that
and they were
car.
like, the bottom of your car is all rusted and your engine could fall out any minute. And this is why the car was recalled 2 years ago. And I was like, ugh,
Aw,
whoops.
that's
And so we had
sad.
to go get rid of it. But now
Yeah.
I still have my car from high school. It's my little Toyota Camry.
I love her.
I love her. She gets me
She's a
to
legend.
and from places. I have a 2-hour commute every day, so she works.
Yeah. God bless. My first car was not even technically a car that my family got for me. It was a hand-me-down. It was my dad's old Dodge Durango. I think it was 2005. I had it for college, because technically they gave it to my older brother. My dad had gotten a new Dodge Durango, and then they gave it to my brother to use while he was in college. And then my senior year of college, they gave it to me because we both went to school in upstate New York. So I would drive home for holidays and stuff, and it would be like 5.5 or 6 hours of a drive. And that car was a beast. Like, oh my God, it was so good. It drove through crazy snowstorms when I was in college. And my one of my like really good friends, her name is Minche, and she's actually gonna get married soon. Shout out Minche, yay, love you. Um, and we were like really, really, really good friends in college. She was one of my closest friends in college. And I remember telling like the new friend group that I made that senior year, like, oh yeah, I have a car, like I can drive us around. And it was one reason why I think that I got to integrate really well into the friend group, but also people liked me, which is another plus. But I wanted to name the car since it was going to be my car, so I had her help me name the car. I was like, "What should I call it?" She's like, "You should call it Coco." So it was Coco, the black Durango that I drove
I
everyone
love
around in.
that.
Yep. And then I think after college, I had it for a little bit longer so I could drive to work. And then I think it was when I came to Korea that they officially got rid of the car. So,
Oh,
yeah, quite sad. And then no, I'm just kidding. We got rid of it before that, and then my parents got a oh my God, what car was it? I really liked it. Oh, it was an Audi A3, I think. And we had that car for maximum a year. And I remember we put the wrong type of gas in the car, so it had crazy engine problems the whole time I drove it, and it used to break down on me a lot. Like, sometimes it
oh
wouldn't
no.
start, and I'd have to go under the hood and change spark plugs, and, it was
Gosh.
crazy. And there was one time where it almost exploded on me just after I got off the highway when I was going to work.
Ooh.
And, yeah, it was pretty scary, but, I survived, and I hear that the car is actually doing really well now, and someone who actually understands cars is taking care of it.
Yay.
Woo! So, my first and second car, my only cars. Um, all right, your first job.
I had the cutest first job. I worked at a consignment store.
I
Um,
remember it.
and they let me bring Charlie. So Charlie would sit in
Yeah.
the consignment store and I would just basically like it didn't have a lot of customers, so like I would just do homework all day, like fix the clothes. Sometimes I would buy a lot of clothes and then get paid in clothes because I bought too much.
Hmm.
Um, but it was so fun. It was so fun.
Yeah.
And it was right near where I lived, so
Yeah. I remember going there to visit you and Charlie and then looking at all the clothes and buying some too.
yeah.
It was fun. That was a good job for you. My first job was technically at my family's greenhouse. This is the first time I've ever talked about it, and I'm sure I'll talk about it more. But my grandparents own a greenhouse, and actually, this is really cute side story. I always thought that if I ever became famous or like, an influencer or something, the one thing I'd really want to do is like hype up my family's business, our greenhouse, so that they would get more business and it would like help them,
Oh,
which is sweet.
that is
But
really sweet.
yeah. But I used to work there like just as a kid, you get paid like 20 bucks under the table for like sweeping up or
Yeah.
watering outside plants or something. And then it kind of became a real job where I would go work out in retail, where I would work at the cash register. But the issue is that you kind of have to know plants in order to work there. So they'd be like people would come up and I would check the little tag of the plants and I'd be like, okay, it says perennial or or it would say like the name of the plant and I'd be like, so is it like annual, perennial, like, I don't really know, and then I'd always have to radio to my grandma or my dad to come help me. I felt
Oh,
so bad, like, I should not have worked up there, and the poor people that were trying to buy plants, like, they were so patient with me, but, like, I didn't deserve it.
so
But
funny.
my first job away from family business was at a donut shop,
I love that
and
place.
it's, like, almost the exact halfway point between your like childhood home and my childhood home.
Yeah.
And I love it. It was actually kind of fun. I used to work with these two people that I loved, and I wish I kept in contact with them. They were actually really funny. Um, and they made me feel more chill about having a job because I used to get so anxious in
Yeah.
working jobs. So I really appreciated them. And yeah, it was my first time I got to try coffee. So that was cool. And then I could also bring home free donuts at the end of the night if we had extras. So, woohoo.
I love that. Free donuts.
Yeah.
I just ate a donut from there yesterday.
Ooh,
It was red
dude,
velvet.
the coffees they have there are amazing. I want a coffee from there right now.
I don't drink
They
coffee.
had all the flavors, and I miss it.
All of them?
There was like
Ever?
there was like a strawberry shortcake one, dude.
I don't
Oh
like
my
coffee,
God.
so that sounds so gross to me.
So
I'm sorry.
cool. It's okay. Anyway, all right, next one, your first concert.
American Idol.
Ooh. Do you remember who was like the winner from that
No.
season? Oh.
I just remember going with both my parents. Like my
Was
dad
it the
went,
Jordan
which
Sparks one?
I couldn't tell you which one it was. Even
Oh,
if you named the
okay.
winner, I'd be like, mm.
My first concert was the Cheetah Girls.
Oh, that's such a good one.
It was really cute. Like I dressed up. I think we went with some of my neighbors who I wasn't even actually really friends with her, but oddly enough, like her and her mom and maybe her younger sister like went with us. But at least I think that's who I went with. And then my mom came along too, and so I dressed up in cheetah print and went to go see the
Oh,
Cheetah Girls. And
that's
I
so
just kind of sat
cute.
in my chair. I didn't know what to do. Like I didn't know what you did at concerts, so I just kind of
Yeah.
sat there and listened like a nice person.
This is nice.
Um,
They're doing
this is
great.
nice. Good job. Like clapping after each
Good for
song. Good
you.
job. The first time you flew on an airplane.
I was a baby and I think I went to South Carolina.
Cool. I was also potentially a baby, and I think it was
Potentially a
either,
baby.
well, I don't know if I was like a toddler, but I just know that I used to go to Disney World a lot when I was a kid, and I guess I apparently went to Ohio one time, and I don't
Whoa.
remember it.
Disney
Yeah,
World in
but
Ohio?
my yeah, Disney World in Ohio.
That's my
So,
favorite one.
yeah. But
I
I
was
don't
gonna say there's
remember
no
it.
Disney World in Ohio.
No, there's not. But I think we were visiting my grandpa's college. He went to Ohio University. I think it
Oh.
was related to that for some reason, but I don't know. All right, your first international air travel or just trip if you went to Canada.
International air travel or just international travel?
Just international travel.
Oh, I used to go to Canada when I was a baby.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we got like a lake house that was on the border of New York and Canada.
Fancy.
Yeah.
My first international travel was also Canada. I was 10. We went to Quebec. It was me and my mom and two of our really good friends. And I remember being nervous about hearing French, but they gave me free change so I could have, Canadian money. So that
I
was
thought you
fun.
were gonna say they gave me free French, so that was good. And I was like, great.
I learned bonjour.
Bonjour. That's what my dad
Yeah.
always says. He comes in and goes, Bonjour. I'm like, okay.
Oh my God. Bonjour. All right. So, oh, okay. But then what was your first air travel to a foreign country?
It was such a mess. It was such a mess. Me and my friend Shauna flew what was supposed to be to Amsterdam, but our flight got stuck in Gander for 24 hours because the bathroom broke. And I ended up breaking out. And like because it was so, like, you're in the middle of nowhere. It's like this really weird place in Canada where the time difference is 2.5 hours. It's the only like half hour time zone different area. And like we had
Whoa.
to go on like this old school bus that wasn't even yellow anymore. It was so rusted. It was just brown. And go
Ooh,
to this hotel. We almost didn't get a room, but we did. And oh, it was such a mess. And then we finally got to Amsterdam a day late. So we were supposed to have 2 days in Amsterdam and it ended up being one.
wow. Interesting. Mine was to England. I went to London with my mom after I graduated high school, and we stayed at a really fancy hotel, and we got two room upgrades because there was something wrong with our first room that I don't remember, but then the second room we found ants in the bathroom. And so
Yeah.
then they upgraded us to an even bigger room. And I remember it
Ooh.
being really nice. And we were really close to Buckingham Palace. And I was like a wizard at getting around on the tube. So it was super fun and I really like it. And I got to study abroad there. So I have really, really, really fond memories in London. And I'll always speak
Nice.
highly about London. All right. And then the last one on my list says your first day of college. Oh, my first day of college was awful. Also, because so like I had mentioned previously, I went to a school in upstate New York and I knew absolutely nobody there. And the only reason I went there is because it was really popular for my major and it was like an hour and a half away from my older brother. So it felt like it was close enough to like be a safe place. If I needed to run off to Albany to go see my brother, I could do that. And so my parents had dropped me off and I was crying in the dining hall, like knowing
Oh,
that they were gonna leave. And my younger brother was with us too. I was crying knowing they were gonna leave, and I hated the idea of it. It was my first time like being away from home for that long. I never did summer camps. I never did like pre-college programs or anything. And yeah, so when they finally left, I was in my room, I was crying, I was sad. So I had met my roommate before my parents had left. Her name was Liv, Liv. So it was Liz and Liv, and it was really cute. We had cute door tags. But she had already gone off because I guess she had met people, made friends really quickly. She was more of a popular person, probably from like high school. So, but there was like a welcoming ceremony. I went to it. I went with some of the people that were living on my floor and they seemed nice, but then I learned that they wanted to go to the parties and drink and stuff like that, and I wasn't that kind of person. So I was like, oh, maybe they're not going to be my friend group. That kind of stinks because what am I going to do now? So I remember that really upset me because I thought I made a friend group and then I didn't. And then I was back in my room and there were these lacrosse players that lived next to Liv and I, these guys. And I had met them briefly because everyone on the floor had to meet. And they came into the room at one point and they were just like, hey, is Liv here? And I was like, no, she's not here right now. Because the door was open. Everyone recommends you to leave your door open in college so
yeah.
people can come saying hi and you can make friends. And I'm like, actually, that doesn't always work.
No.
Actually, it doesn't. And on top of that, like sometimes you want your privacy. So I realized that after this story, and I might sneeze right now. So no. Okay.
False alarm.
So false alarm. I gotta make this fast. So they ended up walking into the room without my permission. And they were pointing out all of like the posters I had hung up on the wall because I hung up One Direction and 5 Seconds of Summer and R5. And R5 has Rydell, a female, and they kept teasing me, being like, oh, look at all your little boy bands. And I was like, 5 Seconds of Summer isn't a boy band because they play their instruments, and R5 has a girl. I didn't really like say that out loud, but I was just like, oh my God, like you guys are so insensitive and stupid. But I was getting like really nervous and they were making me really
Yeah.
uncomfortable. And then they asked me like what happened to the picture that they had apparently hung up over my bed of one of these lacrosse player boys put his own picture like above my bed. And I was like, I don't know. I think Liv threw it in the trash, which she did because she's a good person. And so they're like saying all these things. I'm so uncomfortable. And they're like pretty much making fun of me to my face. And then they start heading back towards the door and they're like, goodbye, babe. And then they like walk out chuckling. And I'm getting so embarrassed. I go to close the door and I'm like on the verge of tears. And then a few minutes later, the door opens and it's my roommate. And she's like, "Hey, Liz, how's it going?" And I just burst full sobbing into tears. I'm
Oh,
broken. And she runs over and she starts consoling me. She's like, "Oh my God, no, 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 what happened? What happened?" And so I told her everything. And they were her friends. So I'm like, yikes, like here I am being like a little tattletale on the first day of college. What? But she was like, "That's not okay of them. They did something incredibly rude and wrong, and I'm going to go talk to them and I'm going to make sure that they apologize to you." I cannot tell you
God.
how incredible this girl was. She, like, from day one, she knew that she was going to be looking out for me like that. And I really appreciated it because I was so embarrassed to be that kind of girl in front of her who is such a little innocent baby. And she like did not mind consoling me about stuff. And I think she kind of knew just because I was always homesick, but yeah, she's wonderful person. I'm always going to be thankful for her. And she had managed to help make my first day better than it could have been.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then eventually those boys did come around and apologize to me. And then they used to try to say hi to me in the hallways, and it was really awkward. So,
Ooh. Yeah, that's weird.
yeah. Yeah. But, college did get better, but it took a
Yes, college
long
got
time to
so
get
much
better.
better.
It took a long time for my college to get better. It had its crazy roller coaster up and downs, but that's a whole other story that we do not have time for because it's already been almost 2 hours.
Woo!
So, on that note, I need to go to bed. It's midnight 04. So,
It's 10:04
thank
here,
you.
and I need to go out for my dad's birthday.
Happy birthday to your dad.
I will tell him that you said
Yes,
that. Not me, though. I would
beautiful.
never.
Never. Anyway. Thank you everyone for watching our podcast episode of all of our firsts. We hope you like it. Feel free to share your own first down in the comments. I'd love to read through some of those. Um Make sure you follow us on all of our social media links. We are Ghost N letter N Giggles on Twitter and Instagram, and we are Ghosts and Giggles podcast on TikTok.
She sneezed. I will
And
demonstrate the
I
noise.
think it
Achoo.
came out of my nose. I will be right back.
All right. So those will be linked in the description below. Make sure to follow us there for any updates. Also, just like short snippets of our podcast.
Yeah.
And Liz is going to sneeze again. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm going to take my makeup off. So yeah, subscribe, like, turn on our notification bell. Check us out on Apple Music and Spotify, for audio listeners. Um, yeah, and with that, we will see you next week.
Stay
Stay
spooky.
spooky. Woo!
Bye.
Bye.